Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the 6th of May, 2025, Tuesday afternoon. Today we're going to be covering the 2 Corinthians chapter 10. The central thrust of Apostle Paul's message in this chapter is that he that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. He says that you're not commended by commending yourself, but if the Lord commendeth, you're commended. He says that though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. He says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to pulling down the strongholds, casting down imaginations and everything that exalted itself against the kingdom of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. He said you're not to look on things after the outward appearance. And he goes on and he says that we dare not make ourselves or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, measuring themselves by themselves, comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. He says God has distributed to us a measure, and he's focused on preaching the gospel of Christ, not boasting. So his whole focus is on what God has done, not what man has done or doing. We don't see a lot of that today. We see a lot of people boasting about all their accomplishments, about all their degrees, about how many years they've served in the church, about how many times they've made a trip to Israel, about how many mission trips they've gone on, and on and on and on it goes. And where it stops, nobody knows. But again, Apostle Paul says, he that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. So I'll turn this over to Mark and have him read this chapter for us. Hope you all have a good afternoon and realize that we can't look to ourselves for anything. 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Now, Paul, myself, beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of Christ, the presence of base among you, but being absent and bold toward you. I beseech you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence wherewith I think to be bold against some. Think of us that we walked according to the flesh, For though we walk in the flesh, we do now war to war after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For weapons of warfare are now not carnal, but mighty through God for pulling down strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing in captivity every thought to obedience of Christ, and having in readiness to revenge all disobedience with your obedience is fulfilled. Do ye look on things at the outward appearance? If any man trust himself he is Christ, let him of himself think this again, as if he is Christ, even so are we Christ. For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority which the Lord has given us for edification, not for ourselves, I should now as well be ashamed. That may not seem as I would terrify you by letters. Because letters say they are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak. and speech contemptible. Let such a one think this, that such as we are in word by letters, we are absent, such will be also dead when we are present. We dare not make ourselves of the number, compare ourselves with some that commit ourselves. They measure themselves by themselves, comparing themselves among themselves. Are not they wise? But we will not boast of things without our measure, according to the measure of the rule which God hath distributed us, a measure to reach even unto you. For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reached not unto you. We are come as far as to you also in preaching the gospel of Christ, not boasting of things without our measure, that is other men's labors, but having a hope when your faith is increased, that we shall be enlarged by you, according to our rule abundantly, to preach the gospel that reaches beyond you, and not to boast in another man's line of things. Be ready to our hand. He that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. For not he that commendeth himself approved, but whom the Lord commendeth.
So he that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord, because God's done all things. God bless.